All right, this is about the Daily Mirror and what the Daily Mirror is named after. It's actually named after somebody, and it's all about somebody called Judd Charlton, who's a Northern Irish terrorist. He's an absolute maniac, monster, psychopath. Right now, he heads a system in this country that is actually known as the Ian Huntley gangs. And the police are very, very busy. Let's say 90% of their work is dealing with Judd Charlton and his Northern Irish terrorism in England. Okay, so they also are a terrorist group. They're running our schools. They're destroying their kids. They're running the councils. They couldn't care less about England because he's Northern Irish and he's also African men. Right now, the Daily Mirror is actually about Judd's vanity. Right, Judd is a Northern Irish vain git, basically. I mean, I knew him for years, and he's very vain, narcissistic, and ego is all he's about. He has no. He talks about no ideas. He couldn't care less about anyone he talks to. He is a little chimpanzee. All right, it's as simple as that. And now the Daily Mirror is about Judd and him always staring in the mirror. Okay, and all his crimes in the Daily Mirror are about Judd, mostly about Judd's gangs and what they're doing. Let's look at the Southport murders. That's Judd's gangs, and he's working for Psychiatry too. He's actually the head of Psychiatry. Okay, so they're a South American group. Okay, so Judd Charlton is Northern Irish working with South Americans, black whiting system. So Judd is the head of the psychiatry department. He's also head of the head of the Christian churches, and he's a monster. He has created psychiatry and is extremely vain, and that's what the Daily Mirror is about. And then he's going around killing, well, Europeans and British people and American people, anyone that isn't black, right? Because Judd is working with hardcore South Americans. And their premeditation that no one knows about is they plan to destroy the white race, and that's what the Southport murders is. It's the Nottingham murders. So is it then when they killed Maddie McCann? What about the Ian Huntley murders? It's another clone of Africa. That guy Ian Huntley. He's not British. He's not standing up for British people. Soon his whole country will be African in about 5 years, given these guys are leading it. Africa coming in is going to mix with the Northern Irish, and then in under 10 minutes there won't be any Northern Irish people left. And that's what Ian Huntley stands for. Yeah, he's a Northern Irish nationalist. Okay? So more about Judd Charlton, Northern Irish terrorist. Well, he's working for the gay community in the upper classes and actually the hardcore fox hunting community. And that's what the Daily Mirror is about. It's about what the fox hunting community are commissioning. Okay, some of the worst crimes that you can ever possibly imagine. Fred and Rosemary West is a commissioned group from the farming industry that are the upper classes and the fox hunting community. Okay, so Judd Charlton is Northern Irish, and he plans to also, well, he doesn't tell you this, but he's going to fox hunt the Northern Irish next. It's a 360, my friend. He cannot turn it off. That's for his own people in Northern Ireland. And when you see Ian Huntley, well, he's kicking everyone, but also Northern Ireland's going down too. See the size of Africa, all those countries, they're coming at you very soon, right? There will be no more Northern Irish. Okay, so the Daily Mirror is saying, wake up. You're the dumbest clown on the planet, right? You're led by Judd Charlton, who's the real Jack the Ripper, right? And the Daily Mirror is telling you this, yeah? And without that, we'd be pretty much fucked because we need the police, all right? The police, Daily Mirror is the police. You're reading that, you're a cop now, right? You know where to go. You know what's going on. So some more about Judd and the mirror. Well, he's always staring in the mirror and claiming he's the best. But yet he has a horde of Africans with him, and they're all aiming for the white Irish, Northern Irish women that are around Northern Irish men. Judd, right? So that's your destiny. That's your endpoint. It's blacker than black. So along with this Daily Mirror, which is actually the cop, and to help the countries survive this inside Northern Irish terrorism that doesn't tell you who they are, and their main trick is they're the trickster, always saying they're the nice guy and your best friend, and then that you can put the schools into their hands, which you have done, and then also the councils, and they've stolen a lot, and the car companies are also stolen by Northern Irish people of British contingencies such as England, Holland, and Germany. Right now, so the now Northern Irish have stolen the car companies. All right, so the Daily Mirror is about Judd's vanity and how he and African men are extremely vain. All right, they are door bouncers. They're extremely vain, always staring in the mirror. All right, and saying they're better than everyone in England and America. All right, now in contrast to that, I have my friends. Now Judd hates me. Right, he can't stand me. Right, so I have my friends like Dallas, Keith, and Tremaine. Keith looks like James Dean. Tremaine is extremely good looking too. And Dallas is a very good looking guy, very big guy, tall guy, and they're all very muscly with lots of abs, right? And that's our group. And we're also a mirror. We have our own mirror, if you know what I mean. And this is a true story. And we're the streets. Actually, Keith, Dallas, Tremaine, and myself, we're head of the streets. And that's all the street gangs out there. And when Ian Huntley strikes, well, we strike him back. Right, we know that Ian Huntley runs all the schools, he runs McDonald's, he runs the ATM machines, and he's stolen the car companies, and also all the hotels, and he's also all the pub landlords out there. Okay, so the Daily Mirror is a true story about everything that's going on, and it's about Northern Irish terrorism, African terrorism. We've got hardcore African terrorism going on ever since the Daily Mirror has been around, and much, much, much longer than that. It's called ageism, and they're aiming to destroy the white people. All right, so Tommy Robinson, for instance, is representing the Daily Mirror's cause, and he's shouting out help. All right. Also, the far right hate Tommy Robinson. The far right are that Northern Irish guy who wants to be African in under 10 years for all his women. That's what's going to occur. All right, it's a scientific and medical and an immigration fact. All right. Now, okay, so also it's all about the Northern Irish terrorism and Judd Charlton. Right, he's ACME Demolition that did 9/11. They also did 7/7 and blamed it on Pakistanis so that they could mix the blacks with the white people in Britain. And then they're doing the same in Northern Ireland too. There's no deterrent to it at all in the pubs in Northern Ireland to this black-white mixing. And that is going to occur to the Northern Irish women just at the same rate as it does everyone else. Right, so Judd is actually the head of the Christian church. He hates England and America. He smashes up British churches. I've seen him do it, like with a baseball bat. This is the guy who runs the Christian church. He hates the Christian people as well in Britain. He's extremely non-Christian. Now, he's also head of Psychiatry, and he's with another couple of families, and they're both South Americans, Colombians, in fact, and they brought in voodooism. So I play a game with the mental health nurses, and I say to them, African voodoo doll, and then voodoo pin, and then risperidol and guitar pin. And they know what these two drugs are. They're the psychiatric drugs here, risperidol and quetiapine. And it's used by South Americans that are black-whiting system using voodoo drugs. Certainly, risperidol is very painful to take. It's got extreme pain attributes to it. It's literally torture, and it's voodoo torture by the African witch doctor right here in your hospitals up and down the country in Britain and in America. All right, so this is a game I play with all the nurses here to tell me all about this, yeah, and that African voodoo doll, African voodoo pin, risperidol, and quetiapine. So South American voodoo is what psychiatry is in Britain. It's certainly anti-hospitals and anti-nurses, without question. And that actually psychiatry runs the whole damn building, the whole unit of the hospital, controls and manages it. It's run by the upper classes. They're the fox hunting community. They're specifically targeting the nurses, making them do mundane things that they shouldn't be doing. For instance, the fox hunting community are also Mr. Softy Hands. You know, you don't want them controlling anything around you. He's Mr. Softy Hands. He hasn't got a fucking clue. So it's true that this psychiatry department is South American, and it's bringing the South American country into the UK. In fact, there is no other way it can come in through. It's coming in through the tunnel of psychiatry, and that's where your crack and heroin's coming into, and it's going right through the psychiatry department and into Liverpool, Manchester, Scotland. Mass amounts of heroin and crack cocaine is actually being sent in by South America and that African voodoo doll. All right, so risperidol and quetiapine. Okay, there it is. And they've also created all types of stupid things in psychiatry, like no smoking ban. Well, when they say no smoking, they say you should ask them, say no voodoo doll. Tell them that. Say, give me your voodoo doll. They say, here, give me your lighter. Well, you say to them, give me your voodoo doll. And go away. So psychiatry, British psychiatry and American psychiatry and European and Russian is all led under a voodoo doll, right? And that's extremely wicked, right? So they hate the hosting countries. So they'll be using this in Germany, Britain, Sweden, Italy, Spain, France and America. And they are killing the hosting countries, like you see in the Southport murders. That's definitely organised by the head of psychiatry. Look at that voodoo doll right there in the hospitals. And there's a psychiatrist prescribing prescription that is actually African witchcraft. And it's risperidol is an extremely painful drug to take. They also inject you. That's extremely painful, absolutely ruins your life. You get Parkinson's disease, and they spiked Michael J. Fox with Parkinson's disease, actually an African witch herb that can create that. And that poor actor is a brilliant actor. He was spiked with Parkinson's disease by psychiatry. It's the only group in the whole of England and America that can do such a thing. Is coming out of the hospital. They've done that. And they can induce that. Let's ask all the mental health patients if they've got some kind of Parkinson's disease. All right, they all have risperidol and quetiapine. All right, it's voodoo. All right, so so this psychiatry also dislikes and hates nurses. And that psychiatry is actually the upper classes, the fox hunting community. They hate the nursing industry. The fox hunting community created the superbug, making nurses wipe the walls, ceilings and floor every single day, having to clean and sterilise the place, while the doctors sat back with their feet up doing nothing at all. All right, that's the wickedness of your GP doctors, yeah? And they've created COVID now, and also Alzheimer's disease, dementia, AIDS, obesity. All of this has been induced by the hospitals. Nobody else can do that. Parkinson's disease, Michael J. Fox's ailments are all due to the hospitals and psychiatry. Okay, there's nobody else can do that kind of stuff, right? And it certainly isn't natural. Okay, so for the nurses, that you can see this ailment that your system has, and that you have to follow the rules and the procedures, all written by South Americans. Actually, Africa has written all those procedures to make sure you do not connect with your patients. That there's no connection other than that you're making loads of trouble for them is your job. And that's because Africans are telling you to do that. Those patients are the British citizens. And they've been told this, that, and they're imprisoned like one after another. Like one prison, you put in one prison, then you put in another, then you put in another prison, and then it goes like that. That's psychiatry, South American voodooism. So, but with the nursing industry, they're also under attack, right? They're also given procedures that tire them out. So superbug, for instance, well, there'll be another one coming along as long as the upper classes are there doing their fox hunting. Let's ask the fox hunting community when their next fox hunting session is. All right, they say it will be soon. Right, so for the NHS nurses, you are to become fully aware of this, yeah, and you mustn't follow those procedures. If you do, you are supporting crack and heroin importation into the UK. All right, and that's nothing compared to smoking. All right, forget about smoking and concentrate on the heroin and crack you're bringing in and stopping that. And let me see you doing that, because the taxpayers are paying your wages. So, in all despair, when you've been controlled by such nasties and wouldn't know quite what to do, well, don't forget us, me, Dallas, Keith, and Tremaine, and we've got our own mirror. All right, and we know who's attacking us. It's the beer companies, right? So that's all the pubs. So they're attacking us. We see that in the Daily Mirror, but in our mirror, we've got our own mirror. You see, so and that includes the nursing industry, because St. John is my dad. St. John's ambulance services, and that includes all the hospital nursing industry, also the surgery department and the Red Cross, and that's who we are, right? So when we get attacked by voodoo in our own hospitals, well, we contain that attack. We put it, I'll tell you how to deal with it. What's going on is the voodoo people, the way they attack us is they're attacking us from behind, right? And then they're doing all sorts of stuff, okay? All right, so that's how they attack, and then they bring forward this huge gorilla. All right, that's what the film King Kong is about. Those small people, the pygmy group, that's a true story, right? That are somehow the West has these pygmies are brought into the West by the upper class gay community, and now the little pygmies are saying kill everyone, put all the white people in cages, all right, and then build King Kong, and he will do that. And that's what's going on in France right now, and that's what's going on everywhere. All your laws, for instance, are King Kong. Your 18 sex laws, every law out there, poll tax, council tax, all of that is King Kong, right? And he's killing us. There's no need for it. He's stolen the banks too. We're the richest country in the world. Where's our wealth? I don't see wealth in Manchester at all, other than the bank area. So for the nurses and the NHS nurses, mental health nurses too, you're on our side and you're being attacked by King Kong, right? There's no joke. It's a true story, right? And your incrementations of what you've got to do every day, and it's not written by genuine carers at all, or psychologists. They call themselves psychiatry, but it's really fox hunting. Right, there's no such thing as schizophrenia, and no one's hearing voices either. Certainly people are a bit doolally here and there, but it's due to stress, upbringing, and a number of pressures that's put them under too much stress, and an outburst of anger and frustration is seen, and that's normal. Now, there's no such thing as the diseases that they're coming up with. Psychiatry is just a fox hunting community, and they're aiming to create a fox to go running after. And then they're using Category A prisoners too. As I say, for psychiatry is also the Ian Huntley gangs. All right, so when the NH nurses see the Ian Huntley gang strike, well, then they've got to strike back at all their incrementations of procedures in the hospitals. You must attack it from behind and turn it over. So your sheet of instructions you must take and turn it over. And then start again, and using your own brain, your own situation, all your experiences as what is your best way to express the duties of your job. So if you're a mental health nurse, then make your duty to the patient. Notice how there is no duty to the patient right now. That's because Africa's telling you to stay away from the patient, who generally tends to be a protester of the desperate and terrible system that we're living in. And that's correct, certainly. There are a lot of protesters in the mental health institution. They're not in the pubs, they're in the mental health institutions. And they're very good protesters. And then they've been subdued, put to death by Africa in the psychiatry department. So St. John, who adopted me, he made me the head of the T group, and he also made me Jamaican's #1, because he loves Jamaicans and the music world, the Gospels, and we're the T group that represents the music world. Now, Bob Marley knows who I am, and he called me One Love, and number one for Jamaican people, and that's just the story, the beginning of the story, and then we're being attacked by Northern Irish and Africans. I'm not allowed a girlfriend because I'm number one. I'm also head of the T group. And I'm not allowed to have any friends, anything, because the Africans and the Northern Irish gays are terrorising me. And I know Katy Perry for many years, and a great woman she is, great singer, an incredible star in the spectrum of the pop world. Uh, she she knows about me, about my story, and her song "Wide Awake" is all about this, and we're wide awake. We know our strengths. We know who's attacking us, and we're going to attack back and take everything that we own and rebuild it. So attacking Jamaica's number one. I'm not allowed a girlfriend for over 30 years now. Um, People doing that, organising that, are the dad actually to England, and that is all the corner shops. And they're the dad to England. Suffocating blondes, for instance, is their main theme. You know, Jamaicans don't do that sort of stuff, right? Now, the Dark Inns are doing that, and the Northern Irish are doing that. They're putting the blondes on the floor, knocking them out unconscious. Is their theme. All right, so the Jamaicans are under attack and the blondes are getting brutalised, and actually it's all led by African men, Aborigines, and those dark Indian corner shops. All right, and on the T side, on the T group side, we're Jamaicans, and we're being brutalised by this A group, the corner shop people. All right, that are going for the blondes, and they plan to destroy them incomplete, and mix them all with Africans and then turn them all into gays, because it's the gay community, upper classes, no girls allowed. It's the gays that are turning everyone into gay clones. That's the end goal for the gay people. Right, and this is really affecting Jamaicans because now they're trying to genocide the Jamaicans, so that the Africans can take over the white people and enslave them. Is their plan. They plan to enslave the white people, the African people. Slavery comes from Africa. Slavery is part of voodooism. Voodooism is kidnap, abandonment, torture, slavery, death, and cannibalism. And that's where slavery comes from. And they're bringing that into America yet again right now. There's about 10 million Africans arriving into America, all right, to do that. They plan to go for Americans. That's their plan. So that's Psychiatry and the Voodoo Doll. So with the Daily Mirror, that expresses what the African men and their crimes and what they're doing, and the gay, some of the bad sides of the gay community, they're doing that. The pink community, the upper classes are a gay group. The bad side, that is. There's a bad side to the upper classes, and they're all gays, and they believe in no women. They don't put them out of sight. They take them off the stages. They're not allowed in politics. Those type of gays, all right, and they're running the world right now, right? So they've got this fucking devastating system called the Ian Huntley gangs, Southport murders, running all around everywhere. So instead, we've got a mirror too, all right, and we're led by the streets, and we're also the mafia. I was adopted by the Godfather in New York. And we're the Italian mafia too. Me, Dallas, Keith, and Tremaine. Tremaine is the Richardsons. He headed the Richardsons gang, right? So we're the Richardsons gang, street gangs. And Keith, he looks like James Dean. He's one of us, and then Dallas as well. He's a sort of British American, and we're also the FBI police, right? So we've no. In the Daily Mirror, you'll read that the banks have been stolen off us, right? And at Max is Max. I'm Max. At Max. You see, the banks have been stolen off us by the group that are causing all that news. it's the same group. They're stolen the banks and they're creating all that news. So we've got our own mirror. We are also the NHS nurses. We're also I'm married to Pilgrim. Pilgrim Tucker, head of the Essex Girls family. We're a Tucker family, and the brilliant Taylor Swift is playing my wife's part, Pilgrim, who's the head of the Essex Girls. And the song "Style" by Taylor Swift is expressing our group right here in with that mirror, our mirror. And it's Style. Her song "Style" is about our group, and my mate Keith, who's my brother in our group, he looks like James Dean, and it's a true story. And my dad is the head of the St John's Ambulance Services, and he created the Beatles. Okay, so and also Eric Clapton, and also Led Zeppelin, and we'll talk more about that later. And that he made, and that we're on our side, and with our mirror, we are Bollywood too. Okay, and we're also the Pakistanis, and the Jamaicans, and Irish people, English people. We are Tommy Robinson, Nigel Farage, and all of Parliament. Okay, we're all under attack by the A group chicken shops that are running Category A prisoners and Northern Irish terrorism. And that Northern Irish terrorism is actually South American terrorism and the cartels. So the cartels are running our councils, our schools, and they've stolen the car companies right here in Britain too. Let's look at the murders they've done. They all seem to always going for kids. It's because voodoo is a child killer. When the African women find out voodoo's going on, they go to them and then they burn him on the bonfire, shouting, "Bun him, bun him, bun him," right? Because it targets young girls, voodooism, and that's how they treat voodooism in Africa. We've got plenty of it here in England and America. It hasn't gone away. It's travelled, and now it's here. So what is voodooism? Well, voodooism is slavery, and it's also homosexuality. And this is homosexuality gone wrong, if you know what I mean. And it's extreme homosexuality. Homosexuality includes a lot of hardcore violence. And the homosexuals in the upper classes, that's why you've got Africans in the West. Well, in our mirror, we're also the I group, which is a witness, and so we're the T group, and we're also includes all of the football world, and that we're the mafia as well, and the streets. That's headed by Keith, Tremaine, Dallas, and myself. So we're the T group, and Bob Marley calls me his number one for the Jamaicans because I'm also a witness, and I espouse all that Jamaicans do for the Gospels and the music world. I'm the rock as well, and we're the rock world. But we're all under attack here by the A group chicken shops, and as the story, as you know, I was just told. So I'm Jamaican's number one, and you have Bob Marley called me his number one and one love. And he also said he knew that women, they would not allow me to have a girlfriend. So Bob Marley said, "No woman, no cry." So he knows that they won't let me have a woman because I'm the head of the T group, and this is the African people that won't allow me to have a woman. So Jamaicans, they say, "No woman, no cry," that they'll get me a girlfriend and that they'll keep her safe as well. And also my whole family and everyone I know, people I talk to on the internet too, we all need help and security from No Woman, No Cry. And that the mastermind, the head behind these attacks to Jamaicans is coming from your chicken shops, corner shops, pub landlords, hotel managers. Also the train staff and the males in the train staff. So they're attacking the Jamaicans, and in response, we are Bruno Mars, and Bruno Mars is playing my part actually, and together we are Bruno Mars, and all his stories correlate to this story, and we hope you can get involved and take back England that's been stolen off us by hoodlums of the worst sort. So also Snoop Dogg is also playing my part too, and I'm a witness. And we're telling America what's actually going on and how bad it is and how we can counterattack. And all these videos tell us I try my best to help you rebuild this country that is getting pulled down, much like 9/11. So we really need to get a grip on this. And I hope we're using the witness. You see how bad it is and how to counterattack, counterattack, and counterattack. Okay, so to explain more about what the I group, which is a witness, and a witness is also a judge. And once a judge has condemned the enemy, they get the death sentence because the crimes are so severe. Let's look at the Southport murders. It's actually an attack to Irish people and also Jamaicans, number one. Jamaicans number one is married to Queen Pilgrim, who's been played by Taylor Swift. Those girls at the Southport dance place were killed, something to do with Taylor Swift. They're targeting Taylor Swift. That's also Jamaicans being targeted when and attacked when the Southport murders occurred. But also the Nottingham murders too is another attack, very much the same. So is the 7/7 bombings. That's very much the same, right? And the 9/11. That's also very much the same. All right. Okay. So yeah. So to attack Jamaicans, the corner shops, the chicken shops, the dark Indians, they're using poisons, and then this can be cause an unexplained death. Okay, so now they killed Michael Jackson. Okay, they killed Prince. They killed James Brown, who was also murdered by the same group, the corner shops. Okay, they're the A group. They call themselves the A group, but they banned everything in life. They're not the A group. They're a lump of shit, basically. Okay, so they also killed Eva Cassidy, David Bowie, Kurt Cobain, the comedian Felix Dexter. I advise you to go and watch this guy. He is telling the truth about these Africans and how they're killing Jamaicans as well, not just the white people, and blaming them for slavery. Even though he explained that slavery comes from Africa, it's part of African voodooism. It's kidnap, abandonment, torture, slavery, death, and then cannibalism is next. All right, so slavery is from African voodoo. It's nothing to do with the white people that actually banned slavery. Was William Wilberforce of the science world. He came in and said it was outrageous and it has to stop. It's African voodoo, and that's why the blacks are now free in America.